Hi, everyone. I had arguments many times in the past with atheists and agnostics, and I wanted to address this question once and for all because I think it really deserves. But I have been, putting off this video for a while now. I tried recording it several times. Just didn't go well, but I'm going to do it right here. So, a lot of people blame a particular religion, may it be Judaism or Christianity or Islam or whatever. And they blame them either because they're racist or they're part racist and they're part, reading these kind of conspiracy books and things. And I've known people that have read books that are created by people who were former of these religions, former religious. Like, for example, Islam, there was few books out there, maybe more, that are going against Islam, and they were Islam at one time themselves. And same thing with Christians and others. Now, we have to understand the underlying reason that we have the violence is happening, that the violence is happening on the earth. It's really not about religion, though, of course, religion is a big part of it. That's not the main thing that's happening here. That's not the main cause of why we're having all this violence around. Yes, that may be a part of it, and it may be a big part of it, but that's not the main reason. We live in a herding culture. What is that? Herding culture is basically when we dominate other living beings. We started, according to anthropologists, about 8 to 10,000 years ago, maybe 11 or 12,000 at around that time. And when we started herding animals, then we started to see, and when I mean by herding animals, I mean we enslaved non-human animals. We were mainly breeding female animals, using them for their secretions. Female animals, especially because that's how they breed. We impregnate them, and the whole system starts from female animals. So the whole system, the whole world that we live in, no matter what culture we live in, the whole world is based on this enslavement of animals, non-human animals. And because so, we now see the enslavement. And it actually happened that enslavement was prevalent for humans right after that. Yeah, there was wars, throughout the eons of time, and I don't really even know what happened back then. I mean, there are theories and there are books on this and things, but we really don't know what happened. But according to anthropologists, we started herding animals about 10,000 years ago. And that then we start seeing the prevalence of violence towards other humans. Yes, again, we started, there was violence all throughout history, all throughout human civilization. And we don't even know, even if the world is, as they say, 4.5 billion or whatever, even 10,000, we don't even know. I wasn't there, so I can't really vouch for that. And a lot of what we're reading nowadays, a lot of it, probably 90 or more of what we read nowadays, what we get information, what we get from, are either run, either owned, either manufactured, or in some way funded by the government. The government makes the larger top people, smaller group of people called shadow government or Illuminati or cabal. And we don't know who these people are. There have been some suggested hints on who are some of these people, but we can definitely say that these are the people that run the world. These are the people that employ the governments, employ corporations, which government is corporations, institutions, and all institutions, which religion is a part of. So religion, no matter what religion it is an institution. It's institutionalized religion. Churches, synagogues, mosques, what have you. They're all institutionalized. Even if we take, for example, vegan, certain religions, group of people within religions may be vegan, like, certain Jains, group of Jains, and certain Buddhists and so forth. I'm not saying those religions, like everyone is vegan, but a lot of them are. And so they're still, indoctrinated. They're still part of these institutions. They're still, following the institutions and involved in it. Even though they're not part of the herding culture because they don't enslave animals. They don't kill and use animals, which is great. But it is definitely something that needs to be looked at, understood. We don't know nowadays anything nowadays, if anything is really truth. Somebody could write something, and how do we really know? I mean, yes, there can be people that have experiences and things of that nature. But again, blaming a group of like a religion, particular religion, on something, saying that, oh, Islam is ruling the world, and their people are giving birth to so many kids, and and they're forcing their religion on everybody, and this is what's happening, that. We have to understand that before we got into religion as infants, we started consuming animal foods. We started consuming the milk of our mothers, or infant formula, whatever you have you. And we basically began the process of indoctrination because we are consuming the milk, which is the byproduct of the mother, which is again a byproduct of whatever she's eating, the animal foods that she's eating, the fear and the violence of the cows and the chickens and the fish and etc. And that's the first day. So we're indoctrinated, we're programmed with the herding mentality first and foremost. If people are vegan, they do not exploit animals, or they should at least not exploit animals. There are, of course, some vegan people that claim they're vegan and they're truly not. Because they're riding elephants or horses or whatever, and they're justifying it. Okay? So people, I've seen this before. I've read it online. I've heard it from people that a group of people should be murdered, should be killed. Their balls should be cut off. I heard this from vegans. I heard this from atheists. I heard this from agnostic people. I heard this from many different types of people directly telling me, also through forums, Facebook, and other social media. And bashing one group of people is like saying another group of people is better or is not harming anyone. But we got to understand that Illuminati, whoever they are, shadow government, whatever you want to call them, they're the ones who run everything. They're the ones who created religions. Supposedly it came from, I don't know, maybe from England, maybe from, I really don't know, maybe from Rome, maybe from the from the royal family. We don't really know where it came from, but it is manufactured. All religion is manufactured, especially when it comes to institutionalized religions. Maybe back then, thousands of years ago, or whenever, maybe, who knows, maybe there was some, spiritual religion. I truly believe there was religion, but it was more of a spiritual practice. And they didn't call it religion, call it by, some other names. So all I'm saying is that we can't blame one group of people. We're all to blame. We're all consuming animal products. We want one group of religion to be annihilated off the earth, and then another one is going to come in and take over. Violence begets violence. What does that mean? Violence causes more violence. If violence was the answer, we would be living in the Garden of Eden today. It is not. And so we can't blame others. We got to blame ourselves. If we're still eating dairy products, if we're still eating eggs, if we're still eating the flesh of animals, the meat of animals, if we're still eating honey, and if we're still eating products that contain animal-derived ingredients, we're still unfortunately supporting the violence that's happening on this earth. So before we start pointing fingers at somebody, ask yourself, are you vegan? Are you fully there? Are you fully not buying anything that comes from animals, or at least trying to minimize as much harm as possible? Are you not eating dairy products? Are you eating products that contain animal-derived ingredients? Are you buying honey? Are you buying eggs? Are you buying dairy, some form of dairy? If not, and even if it's just once a week, or once a month, or once every 6 months, we're still causing harm. So before we point fingers, let's look at ourselves. We are the ones that are causing violence. Do you think if the majority of people on this earth were vegan, that we're not going to get closer to the Garden of Eden? We're not going to get to this utopic society or to utopic world? Because society, culture is based on hurting animals. That's what it is. Based on owning animals, based on ownership, property status of non-human animals. We got to wrap our heads around this. This world, again, I'm repeating myself, this world is based on hurting animals, on owning animals, on property status of non-human animals. End of story. Nothing will get better until we stop consuming animal products. And nothing will get better if we don't educate others to this enlightenment, to this idea that we see animals as property. And that is the problem. It's not about religions. It's not about anything else. Yes, there are a lot of problems other than, animal agriculture, but nothing will get better unless the foundation, if the foundation is rotten, if you have a house and the foundation is rotten, okay, nothing on top will get better. You can build all the floors that you want and you make it like a mansion, but if the bottom foundation is not rock hard, solid foundation, if it's has holes in it and it has, it's leaking and all kinds of things, the rest of the house doesn't matter. I hope that analogy was clear. So basically, get rid, if we don't remove the underlying cause of our dilemmas, our problems that we're faced with on this earth, nothing will get better. It's like when I like to use this analogy that Tim Van Orden uses. It's like, for example, we kick our shin like 10 times every day, or let's say 100 times every day, we kick our shin. And to fix that, combat the pain, we're going to take some painkiller, some medication. Wouldn't it be better to find out what the underlying cause of your pain in your shin is? Wouldn't it be better if we stopped kicking our shin? If we stopped kicking hurting ourselves? Wouldn't it be better than taking the medication? But that's what we're doing. We're putting medication, we're putting a band-aid on the situation. We always want to blame others. We always want to blame others. We don't want to take the fault for ourselves. I mean, we are the problem. Let me tell you another story, a personal story that I think you will, and I hope you'll understand. So I literally was eating animals for the first 26 years of my life. I was consuming animal products for the first 26 years of my life. I remember going to the circus once and I got my picture taken with a bear in a muzzle. And the bear was sitting next to me. He or she was in uh, their chair, and I was sitting next to the bear. I don't remember me actually being in that photograph for some reason. When I went back years later to see that photograph, all I remember was the bear in the muzzle. And I started questioning our mistreatment of other animals at a young age, probably mid to late teens. I started questioning. And I didn't understand why is humanity stooped so low in their compassion towards other beings. I looked at this photograph and I asked myself, why? Why is humanity doing this to defenseless, innocent beings? There I was trying to answer a question when I myself was supporting violence with my meals. The dairy, the eggs, the honey, the flesh of animals. I was complicit to the violence that, and I couldn't understand because I was with blinders on. I had armor all around me. I did not want to see. I was kind of like half awake. I kind of wanted to understand, but I didn't understand because I was committing the violence. Many years later, when I became vegan, I went back to that photograph. And I knew at that moment that I was the one that was causing the violence, that I was the one to blame. We are all to blame. If we are not vegan, we are all to blame for the violence that is caused on this earth. There is no other way to peace and freedom if we don't remove the animal foods from our plates. If we don't remove the animal foods from getting into our mouths, into our bodies, because we are causing tremendous suffering, tremendous violence, and it's not doing our souls and our spiritual growth, spirituality, any good. We're taking in all that violence, all the suffering, all the loneliness, all the depression from these animals. You think emotions from these animals just vanish into thin air? Absolutely not. So when we point fingers at someone else or a group of other people and say these people are to blame for what's going on here, yeah, it's true, somebody said this. We're fooling ourselves. It's because what we're doing, we know what we're doing is wrong, but we can't see it because we're so blinded by external affairs. I would say 95% or more of what we hear out there comes from the government, the shadow government, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. They are the ones that create everything, basically. They create virtually everything. You might get, hear the certain news article or something that may be really truth. But we got to get it from people who understand, that are awakened, vegans that are, I should say, deep vegans who understand these issues. Not from somebody who's still consuming violence and supporting violence, and we think that pointing fingers at somebody else is going to solve something. No, 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 no. We don't listen to anybody. I mean, of course, there's a lot of people that eating animal foods have very good ideas. I'm not saying that there's nothing good, but before we actually start blaming others, we should start blaming ourselves. Start looking into our lives, looking into our hearts, and opening our minds and our hearts to what's going on, what's really going on in the world today. I've also had people call me uneducated. You have no schooling whatsoever. You have no, degree. And that's true. I don't. And I don't want to, because I don't want to be institutionalized. Listen, teachers, okay, where do they get their information from? From textbooks that are usually funded by governments or written by governments. And if not, if they are independent, they're usually written by people who are eating animals and animal products. And a lot of times these people have very foggy and unclear thinking because they can't uh, understand like what's really going on. What is the main cause of the problems that we're faced with? And they don't have intelligence, because intelligence is the ability to make connections. If we can't make connections between where our food comes from and the violence that it causes throughout the world, the after effects of all the violence that we cause by animal products, then we are not intelligent. Intelligence is the ability to make connections. And so teachers are getting their information from books and teachers, and their information is passed down through generation, through textbooks and teachers. Of course, majority of it, again, is written and funded by the government. Government which lies, steals, cheats us, taxes us to death. And we trust the teachers, and we trust these textbooks, and we trust, and don't forget, all these schools that are accredited are all institutionalized. What is an institution? It's something that, again, a small group of people at the top have created to keep us living in fear, keeping us living with violence. And even though there are some places in the world that experience a lot of violence, like physical violence, wars and poverty, and you name it, we are also enslaved. We don't see it in the West too much, but we're also enslaved taxes are high, and people living in poverty as well, and we have this invisible indoctrination, invisible enslavement through the government that we don't even know that it exists. We think we're free because we can go anywhere we want, we can walk anywhere, we can go anywhere. If we were free, we could go to any country that we want without a passport and without any ID. But that's not possible, is it? You need a visa, you need all this stuff. So we're living in a fallacy world. We're living in a world where it's dominated by people who are eating animals. Everyone who's engaged in wars, virtually everyone who's engaged in wars and violence, everyone who's in politics, the governments, everyone, all these institutions are supporting the mass murder of innocent beings. There's no other way to explain it. If we truly wanted to live in a peaceful world, we got to remove all the violence, as much violence as we possibly can in our lives. There's no way around it. Truth comes from within the heart, not a textbook, within the heart. Yes, you can awaken to the truth by reading some book or going, watching a documentary or whatever. But it really stems from the heart. Awakening stems from the heart. If you're still eating animals, if you're still eating animal products, animal foods, dairy, eggs, honey, you're still wearing them, animal skins, you're still in some way supporting it, entertainment, testing, whatever, we're still part of the problem. Nothing will get better on this earth if we continue, continue consuming animal foods. There's no way around it. We can squirm and we can yell and we can justify everything, but if we are still consuming animal foods, there's nothing right about that. We're going to continue living in a world of oppression, of slavery, of wars and corruption, and we're going to still live in a world that has this hierarchy with governments being on top, Illuminati being on top, and we're never going to have peace. We're never going to have justice. This is about justice for all life. If we want to be peaceful, we be peaceful towards everyone, even including those who are not peaceful, those who are causing violence. We got to be peaceful. So a group of people killed another group of people. So we're going to go against the people that killed the other group of people. So now, when is it going to end? When is the violence going to end? So we're going to kill one politician because we don't like that politician. Then when is it going to end? They're going to bring a new politician in. Then when is it going to end? We're going to kill that one too? People are delusional. People are delusional. That's why this video has to be made. And that's why this video has to be long, to explain everything. Because people are sleeping. They are asleep. They think they know everything. They think they know things. And they are delusional. Delusional because we are such hardwired and such programmed into believing that we need this and we need that. And we're believing all these lies, and we're going against our innate wisdom and compassion. Well, it's not religions. It's not anything to do with even governments, for that matter. It's to do with us. I explain this in my books, that we need to get far away as possible from our society. But the first thing we must do is be vegan. No, not this meatless Monday crap and this welfare shit and reducitarian crapola, and no, it's to stop exploiting others, stop seeing others as property. End of story. So I'll end it right here. But I hope you learned something from this. I know it's been a pretty lengthy video. I thank you for joining me here. Please do post your views and comments down below, and give this video a thumbs up if you really like it. Share it around with all your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you want to know more about all this, my book, Our Path to Freedom, How We Can Live a Freer and More Peaceful Life, has it all. It talks all about the government. It talks all about why we should love. It talks all about veganism. There's so much in there. I mean, it's the third book in the series of the interconnectedness of life, and the trilogy, the last book actually. And it talks a lot about it. You're going to learn a lot. It's a very short book. It's a little over 100 pages in paperback, but you're going to learn a lot. So I highly suggest Our Path to Freedom. Get it now because it's a special Kindle price, and it goes up. The price goes up August 1st. It's coming out as a Kindle and also coming out as a paperback, and in the future probably an audiobook as well. So thanks for watching and listening, actually, because this was, even though it's a video, it's just me talking actually. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.